island of Guam, shelling Jap installations late one afternoon, about 2 weeks before the landings. Suddenly, we noticed strange light flashes from the peak of a nearby hill. The message in Navy code was baffling. "I have information." What could this mean? We signaled the unknown party to advance to the beach. We suspected Jap trickery. Keeping our guns trained point blank on that strip of beach, the captain dispatched a boat which proceeded slowly to meet the person who had sent the signal. White man, a strange, unkempt figure, crying and laughing in his joy and excitement. When he was able to talk, he identified himself as radio man George Tweed, United States Navy, the only survivor of the original garrison of Guam. Slowly, a strange story came out. How he took to the hills during the original Jap attack. How he lived alone in the jungle, changing his hiding place daily, sometimes hourly, for 31 months, while endless Jap patrols hunted him like an animal. How courageous natives smuggled him food and news and warnings of danger. Here was a Robinson Crusoe who had stood up alone against the whole Japanese empire.
When the destroyer with Tweed aboard rejoined the main task force, he was amazed by the size of the fleet, larger even than he'd hoped for during his 31 months of hiding. Battleships, cruisers, destroyers, carriers, so many of them, and assault troop ships and assault cargo ships of a kind that didn't even exist when Tweed became a fugitive. The fleet has come to this staging base, itself so recently in Jap hands, loaded and powered for the attack on Guam. Now, while a band swings out, heavy shells are taken aboard. The finishing touch, the steel that will sting. The big claws, these 14-inch shells, will rip out shore installations, make the landing less costly in American lives. Cans of 40mm ammunition pile up in great mounds on deck. A curtain of fire waiting to be raised if needed. There, across the water, lies Guam. It means much to all Americans, but most to these sailors. They're Guamanians, Americans too. Americans known as Chamorros, whose families have been captives of the Japs for 31 bitter months.
Soon we will find out what those Japs have done to our island. Beautiful it was then, and living there made us happy. There were 21,000 of us, and we knew each other as friends. Although we were far out in the Pacific, we were proud to be under the American flag. We were content. It was a good life. The Navy ran the island like a great ship, gave us doctors and hospitals, and there was care for everyone and free schooling. With many of us younger boys, our big ambition was to grow up and join the Navy. Our older men learned about self-government from the captain who was in charge of the island. We organized our own militia. And our heroes were the Marines. But there were not many of them. The Marines of Guam.
they were indeed, the Marines of Guam.
Japan would consider any move to strengthen Guam an unfriendly act. It would be like pointing a gun at a neighbor's door.
But behind this neighbor's door, the masters of Japan were pointing guns of their own. And they saw in Guam a key to their dream of empire. Their agents among us were busy. Guam was not to be an obstacle to the plans of Tokyo. Then on a certain day in December 1941, the masters of Japan were ready. The war was on. The garrison on Guam, it was over almost before it began.
The Navy Department announces that it is unable to communicate with Guam, either by radio or cable. The island has been bombed repeatedly, and Japanese troops have landed at several points. A small force of less than 400 naval personnel and 155 Marines were stationed in Guam. The capture of the island is probable.
Guam now belongs to Japan forever. Never again will Americans touch its soil.
The return to Guam, we knew, would take many ships. In the months that followed, we built such fleets that we were able to start the march back at Guadalcanal.
At this ridiculous rate of advance, America might recover its lost territory in perhaps 200 years.
Then we made enough planes to begin whittling down the Jap fleet. We grew strong enough to attack New Guinea.
Our Axis allies are pinning America down in Europe. We shall be very much stronger before America is free to move in the Pacific.
We built our way out of the sea. With amphibious operations, we blasted Tarawa and the Marshalls.
We are willing to sell you land at 1,000 lives per acre. At such a price, we will sell you 1,000,000 square miles if you wish.
Then we were ready for the great adventure, an attack on Japanese territory. We conquered Saipan.
But not Guam. Guam is secure. Guam is Japan. Guam is Japanese forever.
Today, our guns thunder their answer. Our guns are on target. The target is Guam. New planes come up to meet ours. The island has been plastered for weeks in the air.
Joe. Fire direction center. FDC, urgent. To the left. Come up a little. Come on, let's go, you guys. Don't play dead with me, you bat.
Mopping up. The phrase sounds tame and unexciting. Actually, mopping up is one of the most gruesome and dangerous jobs of the war. The last hysterical fanatics must be captured or destroyed before victory is complete. We've returned to Guam. It's ours again. But the cost has been high. Americans have died. In dying, each man disposed of 10 Japs. But 1,226 fellow Americans have died. Here are the sons of heaven. These are the members of the divine race. These are the men who set out to conquer the earth. Where now is the imperial arrogance which went forth to bestride the world? The loudspeaker calls, Geneva Convention, we will not hurt you. Out of the hills where they'd hidden come a throng of Japanese civilians. They're bewildered. Not so much by the bombardment, though that was severe enough. Their emperor has failed them. Not so long ago, they turned their backs on their sacred mountain and sailed to Guam. This was to be their colony, their promised land, and the Chamorros would be their slaves. They came to stay forever. Now the plans of empire lie in ruin. Guam's destiny as a fortress of Japan has been smashed. Now a new Marine garrison takes up the watch on Guam. Today, an American task force controls the waters off Guam. Two months after his rescue, George Tweed, now warrant officer and holder of the Legion of Merit for his aid in the recovery of Guam, returned to the island to prepare a final report on his strange adventure.
I came close to dying 100 times during the last 2.5 years, but when those American planes and ships came over, I almost died of joy. All that power, that was a sight for sore eyes. The Navy sure had the stuff. I didn't have to wonder anymore what the folks back home had been doing while I was playing hide and seek with the Japs. But the Japs did a few other things besides chase me around. When they started fortifying, they built up their defenses like mad. They were racing against time. A lot of Chamorro blood was mixed up in that concrete. The Japs forced them to work for practically nothing. And the ones who couldn't stand the gaff were beaten and tortured.
I'll bet they were a little too busy to mistreat the natives when we started coming over.
Not the Japs, sir. They always find time for that. When they got worried about the Americans coming back, They treated the Chamorros even worse. When the natives could get together in groups, it wasn't for celebration. Not at first. They prayed for their dead. Some of these were victims of terrible butchery. This one had his head cut off for turning it up to a sky filled with American bombers. This one couldn't hide his joy when a Zero crashed into the sea. This one tried to help one of our pilots. This is Jap justice, as I saw it. The Japs brought slavery and misery and death to the natives of Guam. These people are my friends. They saved my life. When I returned, the Chamorros were getting their first good meals in a long time, and their first decent medical care, some of it for babies born during the occupation. I would like to visit them again when the war is over. Until then, I want to do everything I can to knock the hell out of those Japs. I was there in the beginning, and I want to be there at the finish.
People of Guam, the government of the United States, your government, promises your homes will rise again. Your losses will be restored. But what is done for Guam is only part of what Guam will do for the people of America and the peace of the world. Guam will now become everything that a powerful American base should be. Great installations will rise as sentinels of our security and the peace of the world. From Guam, the attack goes forward. From here, the winning blow may be struck against Japan. On to Guam, on to every other place we win, we must pour the power that will clear the path to Tokyo. This base, which was lost and is now redeemed, may now fulfill its destiny and launch the action that will help win the war.